All right, everyone, welcome back to That's Okay. Today, we have a special guest with us. And by the way, this is episode 2, Episode 2. And we are going to dive into a powerful conversation with someone I really respect. In fact, this person, I just met him at the end of last year, right? And somehow there is some kind of connection, so a bit of chemistry, which is not easy to
this
find
age.
at this age, exactly, right? Yeah, at this age. So I want to introduce to you, this is Danny, who is the main man behind Upsize Media. In fact, he's not just a husband and a father, he's working every day to break a cycle. And what's that cycle? We will delve into that deeper later on.
OCBC cycle.
Now, Danny's story is one of resilience, redemption, and redefinition. Whoa, nice, huh? Sounds good, huh?
Damn, you are making this up.
Especially when it comes.
building me. I now I got there's an expectation.
Yeah, there's a bar being set here.
Expectation. I'm nervous.
And of course, when it comes to being a father, without further ado, let's welcome Danny. All right.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, bro. No problem.
Thank you.
So maybe just for introduction's sake,
Yes.
maybe you can share with us a little bit about yourself, your family, and of course, Upsize Media. Yeah.
Okay, so my friends call me Danny. My real name is Daniel or Daniel. Yeah. And yeah, don't ask me why there's so many iterations of how people address me. I'm sure it has the deep-seated roots of my upbringing.
Yes,
but who knows? Maybe we will uncover that today. That's and yeah, just looking forward to sharing. I am 36 this year, and I'm running sort of like a media agency. We're doing mostly video production stuff for social media.
Yes, for good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
One of my
Good stuff. I will recommend, by the way, recommend. Steady.
Yeah. And yeah, so I got married 8 years ago, and then I had my kid 7 years ago. That was the first time I was a dad.
Okay.
And so now I'm a proud father of 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny, he said 3. Every time I talk to you, I thought it's 4.
Yeah, I don't
thought
know
you
where
had
the
4
other one
kids.
come. But I will take your blessings. I will take your
Yeah,
blessings.
inshallah.
If I can get 4, inshallah, let's do it.
Okay,
So,
I tell you
yeah.
what, Danny, before we talk about your family, I just want
Yes.
to maybe ask you a little bit more about how your childhood was. And from my understanding, and you did mention this before in passing, that your dad wasn't really around, and maybe you can share with us how was it for you. I'm going straight into this because it's something I really want to know.
It's a lot to uncover. So my childhood, as I remember it, for the earlier formative years of my life, it was good. My mom was a Singaporean flight stewardess, and my dad was an oil surveyor in Malaysia. So I think they met in the plane, fell in love, had me, and then my mom stopped flying shortly after, and then they moved to KL, that's where I grew up, all the way up to kindergarten, right? Yeah, so my life, having both parents at the time was great. They brought me out. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. We live in a nice, cozy terrace house. We stayed like 10 minutes away from Sunway. There was a lot of happy memories, or at least the pictures. That's what the pictures say, because I can't really remember that much. But then shortly after, my mom and dad fell out. And then, to cut the story short, my dad left when I was in, I would say, upper primary school. So from K2, right? So from K2, my parents had to make a decision. Do they want me to continue my education in Malaysia or Singapore?
Right.
So we moved back to Singapore. So we had a house there. and my dad will occasionally come and see us every few months. And by that time, I already had my 2 siblings lah. So it was just me and the other 2. So my memory was like mostly from holidays and from weeks where he would spend a weekend and then he'll be flying off again, and then every few months we'll see him again. So in hindsight, you don't really feel the absence yet. Right, so then till they got separated, after my mom found out he actually married another woman in Malaysia. And yeah, I don't really want to go through the specifics, but life was tough after that. My earliest memory of that whole incident was like coming back from primary school. I remembered my dad was home. They were arguing in the bedroom, and yeah, one thing led to another. It ended up with my dad walking away. So I remember that walk where he grabbed his stuff and there was this long block. I remember as a child just watching that moment just unravel.
And you were there.
And I was there.
I
saw everything.
Right.
Yeah lah. So it's just like, in the movies you see like, don't go. Yeah. So just saw him walk, and then we never saw him again after that.
Okay.
Then then the relationship was kind of on and off at that point. He would send text every now and again, but we never really reconnected since until later on in adulthood. But that's probably a story for another day lah. So it's just I don't want to waste like a majority of this conversation on that. But so then it turns out my dad had a couple of other families in Malaysia actually. Right. So I have a couple of half siblings.
I see.
In somewhere across Malaysia.
Okay, I have 2 questions I would just want to ask you.
Yeah.
I'm just touching a little bit more on what had actually happened here.
Yeah.
My question is, at that moment you mentioned the whole thing unraveled in front of you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm curious, as at that age, right? You probably 10, 11?
Yeah.
Around there?
Yeah.
You saw that happening. Now at that age, what was going through your mind in terms of your feelings when you saw that happening? What exactly, can you recall, what were you exactly feeling at that moment?
It's hard to say in hindsight because, at that age you're not mature enough to understand, a bit more matured concepts.
Right.
Like divorce and separation, all that. So at that time I didn't know what was going on. It just felt like he was angry, they fought, and he left. At that point I didn't know what to expect. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? What's happening? What's going on? Right. It's not until after the months following up after that incident where then my mom sat us down, tell us what's happening, right. And then even then also I don't think we really understand like what was going on lah. Yeah. But my earliest memory was of understanding that whole concept was not until like in my teens. I felt then that's when you went through that rebellious stage, and like hating your dad. So yeah, I went through that phase.
So that's where it kicked in lah.
It kicked in lah. It's like it's unfair. Why you left us? You're just angry. How could you leave my mom? And a lot of that emotions that came throughout my teenage years, of course, coupled by the hormones and all that. So it's just rage, just pure blinded by anger, because not knowing any better, for me it just felt like an abandonment lah. So that was my earliest recollection of or like comprehension of what was going on.
Right. I wanted to ask you a second question actually, but maybe we keep the second question later on. But so when you mentioned that rage, so I guess there was this turning point where, if I put it bluntly, there was that point in time where you think you sort of blame your dad for the kind of things that you had to go through.
Yep.
Was that blame thing that you pointed at your dad for doing this, and you see what happened?
Definitely, yeah. Definitely there was a period, a prolonged period in fact. Actually, it was easier to just put everything on somebody who's never there.
Yeah.
It's very easy. oh, why am I not successful? Because you're not there. Why am I behind this? It's probably because you didn't raise me right. So that sort of detached me from my own responsibilities and me accounting for my own action. Because at the time, of course, you're a teenager, right?
Yeah.
You're just naive, immature. So everything just blame.
Yeah.
So there was no accountability.
Yeah.
It's very easy to just point the blame, or it's because you left us. It's because I grew up without a dad.
Okay.
And prior to that, my mom made it very, very clear at the start. Just because you come from a broken home does not give you the reason to behave like you are from a broken home. From very young, she instilled that.
Wow.
It's just she just doesn't want us to grow up with that thinking that this is an out for you.
Right.
You can go out and do nasty things, unethical things, and just blame, oh, I just come from single parent family lah. So from that point, it has always been ingrained in us, like my mom always said,
And I think that's a good thing to actually mention, that your mom wants you to have that idea that it's not, you shouldn't use that as something that that allow you to do things wrongly or do all the bad things. I think that's a very good thing to say. I think that's, so I guess growing up, you have that thing in mind, what your mom said as you grew up.
I have that, definitely, but I don't necessarily understood what that meant at that time when she said it. Because everything was still young, still raw. So everything I'm saying right now is really in hindsight of whatever I've learned and how I grew up, after becoming a dad and everything is coming in from hindsight. But at the moment, these are just words. What are you telling me? It's like, you're not coming back home. But what does that really mean? Right? And then coupled with, son, you are now the man in the house, and then suddenly there is a huge responsibility just put on my shoulders, and I was just a kid, right? I also want to live my teenage life, my poly life, carefree, don't have to think about this and that. And I think that was also part of the reason why during that age, I was very, very detached from my family.
I see.
Always trying to not go home, hang out, crash at friends' place. I'm rarely home. And I remember this because there was a period, right, like right after NS, just remembered coming home and my brother and my sister, they're all grown up. There was that period, that realization that how much time that I took away. And then when I come back, suddenly everybody grown up already. Everybody big already, So yeah, that was another turning point. There's another story lah. I'm just overwhelmed with where do I start?
Right.
How long do I have? I don't have all day to share. So this is just bits and pieces of what happened lah.
I think it's I'm sure you've used your experience here, and moving on from that situation, I want to talk about yourself becoming a dad. How was it? And maybe you can share your experience, your first time becoming a dad. Maybe you can share with us how was it for you, the feelings, and what was going through your thought processes. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I would like to preface that being a dad has always been in the cards for me. And I think growing up without one, there's really two paths that you can go from there.
Yeah.
Do you want to become exactly like your dad? Commit adultery and then, or do you want to be the opposite?
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to be that person that your dad couldn't have given to you? And that was exactly what I knew from the bottom of my heart, what I wanted.
Right.
So once I knew that, then finding a spouse, it was easy because of that conviction that I know that this is in my cards. You tell me you don't want to have kids, bye. So that sort of gave me that North Star for me to follow.
Okay.
So first time became a dad, which was 1 year right after I got married.
Right.
Wasted no time. Dah kahwin, sah. Okay, let's go. Yeah, so my kid came shortly after, conceived during the honeymoon. So again, wasted no time. Let's go. And it felt surreal.
Right.
Like, you know how you always wanted something
Okay.
for so much, for so long.
Yeah.
And then when it actually happens and when it's actually right in front of you, you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
So that was exactly
So this was when your first child was
my
around.
oldest.
So the excitement was there. I can sense the excitement. Okay, like let's go, let's have a baby, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So baby comes out. What's next? Right. So what again? Now my question was, what were you thinking, and what was going through your head? You know.
If you know the trajectory of my career,
Yeah.
you would know that I'm someone who do first and think later. And that is the same experience that I had when I had my first son. When he first popped out, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
now what? Milk, diapers, all this I have to learn.
Yeah.
So like you were sharing, there's no manual.
Correct.
Where got a YouTube video 7 steps to be a dad? There's no such thing on the internet, Although I think now that I'm saying out loud, there should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, understanding how much formula costs and diaper costs, there was just like, bum.
Yeah.
So it really felt like another work project, I feel. And because the baby is a baby, it's just something that you just have to make sure it doesn't die. To put it bluntly.
Yes.
My task is to feed, so there's no intrinsic macam to grow up, values and all that. Not yet. This is infant.
Correct.
Survival only.
Yeah, that is the main objective here, right?
Correct.
Survival.
Don't have to think about the other things.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I took fatherhood as what it was, one step at a time.
Right.
Okay, what's next? That's always been like the sort of like the journey.
I think that's a good perspective. I guess to all future dads, if you have your first baby, don't think so much.
No point.
Survival.
Exactly.
Right? Bro. This is a baby. This is a living thing. It's alive.
Yes.
Just make sure it survives.
Yes.
Right? And I think that is first and foremost the main thing here.
Don't need to think so far.
Yeah.
What primary school you want to enroll? No need. All you have to think about is to get to the next chapter. I mean, I've heard of stories of those dads, they're over prepared.
Yeah.
When the baby come out, boom, all the whole thing, everything they study out the window. When they see the birth canal open and it's like blank.
Okay. Yeah. Don't forget the birth canal. The birth canal where the baby
you can
comes
never
out.
unsee that, bro. You can never unsee that. Let's just put it that way.
Like I say, I mentioned this in my previous episode where I think for myself, if you don't mind me repeating this, one of the most beautiful thing is to see another life coming out of another person's body, and I'm sure it felt something special for you to see that your first child being born, and wow, like you said, do first, think later lah.
Yeah.
Okay, baby is there, now what's next, right? But I think again, I have to say, being a dad for the first time really kickstart everything from there. And now my question is, baby number 2, how was it? Because you had the first one and then the second one came 2 years later? A 2-year gap, right? I think.
A 1 year gap technically.
Oh, you.
So it's like 1 year, then we tried. Then it's 9 months, so it's 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So
Again, wasting no time.
Wasting no time, bro. My philosophy is we're gonna get tired anyways.
Okay.
Just do it one shot.
I think that's. I think some couples have this idea where let's get tired the whole.
Might as well.
Might as well, right?
Shot. You're ready. You're already on ground zero.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What is another baby? Right. Okay, just go. I mean, to bleep that out, but my wife knows from the get, even before we got married. I mean, this it's a prerequisite lah. I want kids.
Right.
But how many? She asked me at the time. I said 5.
Okay. Wow.
You ask me.
Really,
You ask me now.
Right.
I would still want 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
5.
I'm at 3 lah. I'm halfway there lah.
Getting there lah. Getting there for sure. No, I just want to retrack a bit here.
Yep.
Just want to share a little bit about your wife's situation. And I think you did mention how was it for her? Now you shared your side of the story about your dad situation. Now I want to talk about your wife's situation growing up. And I believe her dad is in a slightly different situation now. If you don't mind me asking, maybe something that maybe you can share a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
No obligations, but yeah.
I can't speak for her, of course.
Okay.
But long story short,
Yeah.
both of us grew up without a positive male influence in our lives.
Mm.
She, in hindsight now, as a mother, she detests our fathers because of for not being great dads.
Still.
Now more than ever, because they rob my children the gift of a grandpa.
Right, understand.
And every time when she sees other older men interacting with our kids, she just gets more. It's not angry per se, but just like, why y'all can't be like that for us? You know what I mean? Even if it's not for us, at least for our grandkids, to show up. But yeah, so that's the story. So yeah, it's just basically two stories about both husband and wife. You know, didn't grow up with positive male influence, and we just wanted to have a family that we could provide.
Yes.
That whole family kind of dynamic.
Yes.
And that's always been the goal. Wow. Never unwavered.
It's amazing how both of you, husband and wife, sort of went through similar situation, without a positive male or father influence in that sense, right? And being together now, I think it's great to see that you guys are, on the same page, I would say, okay, let's have 5 babies, that kind of thing,
Let's go.
Yeah, so I think this is a very a true story of resilience and determination, guys. And I hope it spreads, it inspires others, to realize that all hope is not lost. Yeah, I'm sure deep down both of you probably still have that wee bit of anger, when it comes to why did it happen? Why my dad did this? That kind of thing. I'm sure there is, and I can't speak for them because I've not gone through that before. So for them to go through this and showing how a great dad, I'm sure Danny's a great dad.
Inshallah.
And it's nice to really see this, bro. So I'm really happy.
Thank you.
And I hope this really inspires everyone else out there, lah. So
too.
My next part is, and something I just want to again track back a bit. I'm just curious. Do you ever try reconnecting with your dad? Because my second question earlier was, have you ever reconnect with your half siblings in Malaysia? I'm just curious, because it's by right. If you think about it, the blood is still there.
Yep.
There's blood there. You see. Yeah, maybe you can share with us if there's anything here.
So, growing up, a lot of resentment, jealousy. It gets harder when there was social media, because for some reason they kept wanting to fan us on the social media platforms, which we obliged. We've only ever met them once in my teenage years.
What do you mean? They try to reconnect with you?
My half siblings.
They want to connect with you.
Yeah. So
you're trying not to connect with them.
We're trying to keep that life away from our peering eyes.
Understand.
Right. But after that whole anger emotion died down, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, we just accepted that friend request. But the one thing that I can never still get used to is like, especially during festive periods, and then we're just scrolling through our stories, and then I see my father in the stories,
right,
and my heart will skip a bit.
And this is how long? What was the timeline here,
bro? Even as recent as last year, like sometimes we just casually scrolling. I mean, they all have families of their own, but of course he chose to live with one of the wives, and then. Yeah, it still doesn't get normal. It doesn't feel normal. It shouldn't feel normal. But every time that sometimes you just scrolling, then you just scroll past your half siblings post, and there he is, all dressed up in matching colors, the cucu. Like after that, you just mute lah. Even though like I already have a family of my own and everything, but the sourness still won't go away. It still doesn't go away, right? There will always be resentment. There's always be the feeling of like, damn, why could have you done that for us? You know, then you could have done. Clearly, you are capable.
Yeah.
But what is it that we're lacking?
Yeah.
Are we not enough? You know, that kind of thing lah. But
Did he try
not as
connecting
hard,
with you?
Not as hard.
Was
as
there effort? No effort, you know?
I cannot say whether there was, because I was too young to understand. But all I could say was not hard enough lah. Right?
Right.
Even like the few times that I met him in KL, it was very surface level. We've never connected past what's on the surface, or what are you doing now, how's work, that's about it. How's your mom? You know, so at that point, like, okay lah, I'm okay just having a casual relationship with my dad. You know, I remember just telling him when I first became a dad, I just messaged him. Then he replied, that's great, so happy for you. I hope that you can be a better dad than I ever was. While most people would say like, oh, but I feel like that's a cop-out sentence. It's like, it's just an excuse. I mean, you're trying to butter me up for with that sentence lah. Like, I just thought you would know. Right. But after the second and third, I never really bothered, because I don't think that he cares. Or like, I just don't want me to put in the situation where I would feel that way. There are a lot of things that we cannot control. Our relationship with our dad, how they perceive our family, how they perceive our life. There's a lot of things that I can't control. I only focus on the things that I can control. Simple. Wow. Mute the stories and just move on with life. Focus.
Wow, I think very interesting to hear the situation. And as I've mentioned earlier, despite the situation Danny went through, and he has this objective with his children, you know, to be that dad that's always with them, and we're always going to be with them, inshallah. But I just have one more thing here before we wrap this up. I'm sure there are other people out there, other guys, or perhaps dads who can probably relate to your story.
Probably.
What would you say?
Probably not the part where your dad has 4 wives lah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You know, I didn't know the dad has 4 wives, by the way.
Anybody has had a dad that has completed that whole, collected them all, please comment down below.
4, by the way.
As far as I know, I'm the only one in Singapore. And he's actually quite well known in that space.
Really?
Yeah, because like a funny story. Sorry to deviate. Yeah. So my uncle was, on a ship. Right, he works on a ship. Okay, and he goes through Malaysia frequently. And then there was once he was like at a mess or somewhere. Then this guy came up to him and said, "Hey, you're from Singapore?" Talking about, do you know this guy from Kelantan? He has 4 wives, blah blah blah. They said, "Oh yeah, there's." Okay, cool. Then he took out his phone and showed the picture. Then my uncle was like, "I know, this is my sister's ex-husband."
Alamak,
bro. What? Oh my god!
Hey, wait. This was quite some time back, lah.
Quite some time back.
Right. But someone actually
went to my uncle and was like, "Oh, do you know this guy in Kelantan? He has 4 wives."
So the context is your dad is famous, lah, in that sense.
I do not know that. If that's what you would call it. But yeah, that was quite funny. Just thought I would share.
Okay. Wow. That is interesting. And then your uncle obviously probably shared with you guys.
Yeah, he screenshot, then he sent in a family chat. Then he was like in his motorcycle.
Right.
On his display picture was on a sports bike. That was kind of cool.
Oh my god. Okay, now I have actually ever asked you the question. My question is, what would you say to a guy who probably don't have a father growing up, and and maybe scared to be one? Scared to be a dad because he had to go through the similar situation with you, growing up without a dad. What would be your advice?
My advice would be quite contrary to how I feel now that I'm a dad. Yeah. But I feel that if you are in that situation where you don't have a dad, try your best to find a positive male influence. It can be anybody. It can be a mentor. It can be an uncle. I feel that a lot of young men these days, they lack the guidance and just the fundamental essence of what it is to be a man in this day and age.
Right.
And mothers can't teach that.
Right.
Aunties can't teach that. You still need to have a male influence, whether there is a mentor, a boss, someone that you look up to. I think it's very, very influenced and is very, very hard to come by these days.
And you are referring to today's context, lah.
Today's context,
Right.
absolutely, yeah. And in if any case you still think that that's not enough, and then you're scared, I think it really differs from person to person. But I think the only way you get to grow up, to man up,
Right.
to learn to love something way more than yourself, I feel. And of course, I'm not speaking for everyone. And of course, there's going to be outliers. There's going to be people who don't fit into that category. But for the majority of them, to learn to love your own is something that cannot be taught.
Yeah.
You have to experience it. Yeah. It is very different. To mature at that level,
Yeah.
it is different. To say the words that you would essentially take a bullet for this human that I just created.
Yeah.
Even if I have to give him my last piece of clothing and I'll freeze,
Yeah.
it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. I have one girl.
Yes.
My of course, my princess, my middle child.
Yeah.
And I always told my wife, if anything happens to her, she is the only person standing in the way of my villain arc. If anything happens to her, that will be the start of my villain arc. and that right.
Yeah.
And when you have a thinking that way, that and you watch certain movies,
Right.
sometimes you empathize with the villains. When you hear the backstory, why they became bad in the first place, you empathize because you know how that would feel, right? But ultimately, it boils down to a choice. That's a whole different thing. But the feeling, that innate feeling, the instinctual feeling, you can never experience that.
And this, you mentioned having a daughter. Now, my second child is a daughter. So when you say that, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, and this is something we have to talk about next time, definitely, because having a son and having daughters are different. No? It's totally two different things. And when you have a girl, you have a daughter, it makes you into a different kind of person. You have a different mindset because sons and daughters are two different people. You say,
Very different.
So wow, another episode we have to talk about this. Another
I think we have
episode.
time really.
Okay.
Right.
Before you go off, what's a moment with your kids that really make you go, this is why I'm breaking the cycle? And when I say the cycle, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what you had to go through, the situation you had to go through growing up until you become a dad. And that moment with your kids that make you realize that, hey, I break the cycle. Because you mentioned when you got married and when you were about to get married, you had an objective. So what was that one moment, with your kids that made you go, okay, I've broken the cycle. I've break the cycle here. Is that something that you can share with us here?
I don't think I can specify one specific moment.
Okay.
It is a collection of several small moments.
Okay.
And I think the whole purpose of us having kids was not really to nurture the next genius or wealthy businessman. All we want is to raise kids who are good people. We just want to nurture mindful, courteous, good people.
Yes.
Not nice people, good. Like innately your soul is good. I think the world needs a lot of that. We don't need another smart person. We don't need another rich person in this world. To be honest, you just need a good person. And these moments are when little moments when we go out, and then simple things like when they hold the door for when uncle hold the door for them to go in the lift, they say thank you uncle. They see somebody warning, good morning. It's like, hey, what are you doing? You need help. So this kind of little feeling is just like fills our cup.
Yeah.
And for us, that is our North Star. It makes us feel like, okay, you know what? We are going in the right direction. This is why we have kids.
Yes.
To make them good human beings.
Wow.
That is it. Above all, that is it.
I think what we've heard here is raw. It's real, and I think it's so needed. So, to any one of you growing up, you don't have to repeat what you grew up with. You know, to those of you listening in, you can choose something different. And I think Dennis is a living proof of that. And I think, like I said earlier, this is a true story of resilience. And I have to say, I'm happy to know him.
Likewise.
Yeah. Thank you, bro, for being part of my life.
No worries.
And thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us. And yeah, man.
Hope to see you in another episode. I think we barely scratched the surface.
Yes,
okay.
exactly. I think we will come back again with the episode about our daughters as well.
Let's do it.
Definitely. All right, guys. And before we end off the episode, just remember, we may not know what we are doing, but hey,
That's okay.
that's okay. See you again. Take care.